guys, happy Vlogmas day 22, starting the vlog at like 9 p.m, like 9:30, but I am here to give my thoughts on Tell Me Everything. So far, I'm at 56%. I read a lot today. I started the day at 9% and now I'm at 56%, so I read nearly half the book today. Yeah. And I have my notes right here where I always do, so we are going to go through them. Okay, let me move my pen out of the way. I started on chapter 2, and as we see in a lot of books I read, but never, or at least not recently, in a nonfiction, is the portrayal of the American dream, California being the land of dreamers. And we have her mom, so we get a little backstory on the mom. The mom moved to Los Angeles. It made it seem like she moved, I don't know, but from San Diego to be an actress, and she wasn't really getting any callbacks. It was just a lot of creeps, because you know that's how Hollywood is. That sex work and all of that took over, and I think that's probably something extremely common in Hollywood, and people trying to get famous. I think that sometimes they get kind of turned towards sex work. Or, I think it's mainly in modeling. I actually read something kind of about that recently, about just people, like it was just people talking in the comments on something, but the more you think about it, like the more it makes sense. So, but her mom was a dreamer, and then we get, so Mo is the mom. So Mo, when she found out she was pregnant, Rick, who is the father, he was like, I'll give you the money you need for an abortion and all this. But she had already had 3 abortions at that point and was like, no, I don't want to go through that again. So she goes down to San Diego where her mom is living, so Minka's grandmother, and they are like, okay, we'll raise this baby together. And obviously that doesn't go as planned from what I told you yesterday, but it was the mom and the grandma had like a very like more sisterly friendly relationship rather than mother-daughter relationship. And I think that is also in these wills that I've been talking about of generational trauma, which I don't think that's necessarily it, but this book is making me realize that parenting is everything and it makes us who we are. And we see when Minka was a kid, like, you know, a 7-year-old kid, her mom taking her to the strip club because that's where the mom worked, but the mom would be like so excited to show her new dances for the strip club and all of that. And, you know, obviously that's not appropriate for a, 6 or 7-year-old child. And the mom was treating Minka as if she was, you know, somebody her own age. I think the mom was very childlike, and there's even a picture of the mom's diary entry of saying like she wishes, yeah, I wish I were a child again. And so I think the same thing that played, her relationship with Minka was like her own relationship with her mother, of being more friendly than, you know, mother-daughter, rather than a paternal, no, I don't think that's the right word, more than just a parent relationship. It was more friends. And yeah, so as I said, generational. I have like 4 pages of notes today. Again, I read almost half the book. And then when I was talking about the dreams with the mom, so as I said, the mom had dreams going to Hollywood, becoming an actress. The dad, so Rick, he is from Paris, and I told y'all he was like giving her money for an abortion and all of that. And he basically didn't want to give up on his dreams at this time. He is going to go play with Aerosmith as it said backup for Steven Tyler. I don't know what that means. Did that mean like backup singer? But it seemed like he was a guitarist. So I don't know what they mean. Steven Tyler and Aerosmith, like everybody else is a backup to Steven Tyler, the band. I don't know, it's kind of worded weird, but I mean, obviously you can look up the guy and probably find out, but he didn't want to give up on his dreams. So we see the mom give up on her dreams and the dad not give up on his dreams. Again, dreamers, and how people go about situations that they're in differently. And obviously with a mom being the one being pregnant, being the one who has to make the decision on getting an abortion or not, I think just a lot more falls to it. But I think that obviously changes once the child is born, and with every situation it's different. Now let's move on to chapter 3 and on page 36, I think a lot of people do remember bad experiences in life. You only see that people, before they go to bed, they're laying there and thinking of all the embarrassing things that have happened to them. There's actually a science behind it, and I did not know that, so I wanted to make note of it. That psychologists have long believed that humans are more likely to remember negative experiences over positive ones. Impulse, some argue, has evolutionary roots because it's more important for our survival to notice the lion in the undergrowth than the beautiful birds chirping in the trees. The fact that our youngest years tend to focus more on fraught memories is also due to evolution. Younger people, because they have a long and vague future in front of them, need to collect a lot of information, so they remember ample details about negative experiences to help manage their unclear futures. Who knew? I had never thought of that, but it makes so much sense that survival tactics, going back to the evolutionary, going back to the evolution, so early humans who were, you could think like hunter-gatherers and all that, so it was more important to focus on, okay, we don't want to get eaten by a lion today, than be like, oh, that's such a beautiful birds in the tree. It makes perfect sense. And in chapter 4, parents' mental health impacting kids and staying quiet when mom is happy out of depression. So that's just my basic note there. But yes, definitely, again, parenting. And her mom was obviously very depressed. It doesn't say she had depression or anything, but she gets this job to go to the Philippines for a lingerie tour. Basically, they're doing fashion shows for lingerie. And Minka is really happy to see her mom be happy, because her mom's just been in bed, just eating junk food, not getting out of bed, very depressed. But Minka's like, wait, what does this mean for me? What's going to happen to me when my mom goes off to the Philippines, across the world, But she doesn't speak up against it because she doesn't want to, rain on her mom's parade. And we see a lot of this, of Minka not wanting to speak up. And I think that's only because your parents' mental health does have an impact on you. Then we have, I didn't know the exact word. I was like, it's not intuitive, but it's something that starts with an I and ends with an E. I cannot think of the word. It might be intuitive, but I don't think it is. But fending for herself, making the best of a bad situation, surviving. And that made me realize that survival is such a big theme in this book. In this instance, it's Minka having to fend for herself because her mom is away, and sometimes she wakes up and nobody's home, and she has to make the cereal for herself, make her food and go about her day, even though she's a little girl. She's just trying to survive out here. And then we see it, the mom's sex work. She's just trying to make money to support herself and her daughter. And we see it all throughout the story of survival tactics, even when Minka goes to stay with it's the man who raised her, David. So she goes to stay with him, and he is just beating up his girlfriend, really, really bad. And Minka, she feels terrible not saying anything, but she knows if she says something, then she's going to get in trouble. And it's just survival tactics. And a lot of people, they don't think they're going to get themes like this when they read a celebrity memoir, but everybody has a story. Chapter 5, we all have our history, and it always comes back. This is on page 62 here. And I'm just going to read this paragraph. The last 2 years of elementary school don't unspool in my memory in a clear-cut order, because there was no order, just bits of remembered moments. Everything jumbled in a chronology I'm not even sure is correct. What I see now is that coping mechanisms I developed to outlive these circumstances served me as a child. As an adult, though, they've slammed into whatever structure I've tried to build with potential life mates, eliciting cracks and fractures in the fragile web of trust I long to construct. even as I tried to craft a healthy and safe container in which love and tenderness might bloom. The old wrecking ball of learned behaviors keeps crashing into whatever I try to build, raising dust that clings to my hair and hurts my eyes, splintering my efforts to smithereens. Yeah, your history, your past is what makes you who you are, so it is always going to come into your current life, whether you like it or not. I think this is something that you have to accept. Then we have human instincts. A lot of this, so much trying to survive, I think that falls into the survival category, is just how we're made. And then chapter 6, page 82, LA and Albuquerque. I like the writing here, so page 82. Though we had only just left LA, already I craved the greens of my hometown's foliage, the rusty browns and straw-colored expanses, can't talk, of its hillsides, these shady glens I discovered in the Hollywood Hills, the translucent blues of the Pacific, when we drove to Venice Beach. Albuquerque's woe-begotten air filled my lungs with each breath. Thankfully, we were only here for a visit, or so I thought. Just like the writing there, want to make note of that. I just had the thought how I'm not annotating this. After I finish it, because I know I'm going to keep this book because I am enjoying it so much, should I take all these notes and actually annotate the book? Let me know in the comments, should I do that? Then all this in Albuquerque, we are meeting who David I just spoke about, his family, which to explain more. So David was with Mo, who was Minka's mother, when Minka was born. His parents and all were there, and they see Minka as their blood family, even though technically they're not, but these people are her family. And we're getting introduced to Albuquerque, and it just seems so nice and pure, her grandparents and everything. I'm like, this is going to get bad. Excuse me. It just feels like something bad is going to happen. It all seemed too good to be true. And then chapter 7, we have teenage Minka, and David started being kind of a creep. We know he's already abusive and everything, but very uncomfy stuff started happening. And then we have a great thing where she's talking about, like, you know, being bullied in school and everything, and hurt people is something she's since learned in therapy, and that is so true. And again, generational trauma, because usually it comes from the home, and those kids who are being bullied or being abused at home put it out onto others. They let out that anger on other people they see weaker than themselves, and again, that's just the will of generational trauma. And then chapter 8, this quote here, you tell yourself whatever story you need in order to accept certain realities. And this is talking about her time in high school, and I think, yes, that is so true for high school, but obviously it's true for life as well. And OCD, she doesn't say she has OCD, but she moves into the house with the boyfriend and his dad, and she is like a clean freak, or neat freak is what it said. And I think that, and so she said that she thinks it's because she lacks control everywhere else in her life. Everybody else is controlling her life, but cleaning, she has control of that. And I never thought about that with people with OCD. Like, is that really where that stems from? Is lacking control? I don't know, I never thought about it. But a book that this reminds me of is Demon Copperhead, which if you've probably told somebody Minka Kelly's memoir and Demon Copperhead, like if you liked one, you'll like the other, they'd probably think you're crazy if they hadn't read either. But we see in Demon Copperhead, it's Demon looking back at his life, telling his story of growing up in poverty, and that's essentially what is happening here. Kind of different circumstances. With Demon, it was more so drug addiction, when this is more so like sex work and relationships with men, but there's still similarities. And then chapter 9, we have Rudy, who is the boyfriend that she moves in with his family. He is gross, illegal, gross things happening there. Icky. And then we have Minka then gets in contact with her biological father Rick again, and Rick is living like a totally different life. He has a British artist wife who's working, is it Jim Henson, is that his name, who does the Muppets? She's working with him. They have a nice house in like the Hollywood Hills. They live like this very bohemian artsy lifestyle, and then Minka is living in poverty in Albuquerque and is getting in a lot of violence, getting in fights, like physical fist fights, sex work, gangs, all of that kind of stuff, when her dad is living like, you know, the artsy kind of celebrity lifestyle. And it's just like so crazy, just night and day, the differences in their lives. So I'm so like curious what Rick thought when he found out that was the life his daughter was living. And I have something here that says the end of page 135. I think this was about Rick again here. Okay, 135 is where I am looking for. I just skipped it. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, this sexual harassment, assault, I don't know which one is the right term, that she went through. He let me leave and I didn't tell anyone. This is how I'd been trained. You do whatever it takes to keep men from hurting you, and then you shut up and suck it up, whatever shame is left behind you. And I think that what I've been talking about, survival and everything, relationships with men, that quote says it all. And then we see chapter 10 when Minka is finally, she gets her own place, and she did it with her money, even though it did come from doing the peep shows. But I feel so proud of her, seeing her. She gets a job at what T-Mobile used to be, like their old name, I forget what it was, but we're just gonna say T-Mobile. She gets a job there and is doing customer service and is just getting her life together. She bought a car and it's great. Like, I feel so proud of her. And then with T-Mobile, so she's working customer service, helping people with like their phone bills and all of that. And when they call, sometimes there will just be women, mothers who are like, I don't know how I'm going to pay this because my kids and everything. And Minka will, you can tell how much it impacts her. I'm glad that even though she's starting to get her life together, she's not looking down at others who are in the same situation that her mother and her were in at one point, and she's actually doing something to help them rather than being judgmental or something. And then chapter 11, Minka gets arrested. She had a warrant out for her arrest, and I'm like, oh my gosh, was her mom using her name? Because her mom had even used her name for credit stuff when she was a kid. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm not gonna say how all that turned out. I'll let y'all read the book and find out for yourself, but that is all. I'm feeling like a 4.5 because I was like, okay, compared to the Persepolis, which I read last week, which is also like a nonfiction memoir, even though it's a graphic memoir when this is, you know, like physical text. So should we compare things? I don't know. But with this, I do feel some kind of pacing issues at times where I do get a little bored at times, and I'm not feeling as emotionally connected as I was to the Persepolis. But I do think this book could get to that point where I feel just a ton of emotion. It's just lacking a little of that, and as I said, some pacing issues, which I also had with the Persepolis. So I think if it was just the pacing issues, this could be a 5-star, but I am having that where I'm kind of bored at times, and then the emotional stuff. So I'm thinking like a 4.5 at the moment. We'll just have to see where the week takes me with that. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you made it all the way through, leave a Christmas emoji in the comments below, and as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell to be notified when all my videos go live. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.